Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of the FBFC podcast. I'm your host, Dan, producer Dan, whatever you want to call me. I'm joined by two of my favourite guests for this first episode. To one side of me, he's Barnsley fan, FC and esports commentator, but most importantly, he's the host of the Football podcast, Mr. Richard Buckley. How are we doing?
Very well, thank you. Would have been better if Barnsley beat South Yorkshire rival Doncaster Rovers on Saturday, but I'm not as didn't lose a final, did I? So I'm better than the next guest we've got.
So it's pretty fitting that for the first episode, wouldn't it? Right after the Carabao Cup final, and we are joined by an Arsenal fan. Kieran, how are we?
I've been better. I've definitely had better weekends, which I'm sure we'll get into today. But yeah, it was a rough weekend. I went into it quite confident, and as I say, we'll probably break it down in a few moments. But yeah, I've been better is ultimately the answer.
Well, I'm sure we'll get onto that. We're also going to be talking about Tottenham's relegation parade, whatever that was before the game, and we'll get onto that. The AFCON comeback 2 months later, and then one of the debates that's been going over social this week, Neymar or Rooney. I'm sure we'll get into that. But before we do, I want to start with a little thing called the FBFC Trophy Room. I've asked both of the guests to bring in. I say bring in. We're not in person. They're not bringing it into show and tell. But something from football history, a moment, a memory, anything they want to be placed in this hypothetical trophy room. We'll start with Kieran. What are you placing into the FBFC trophy room?
Well, when you first asked me the question, a few things came to mind. I always went to moments. It was always going to be a moment or a goal. One thing, these aren't what I'm going for, but these are some, let's say, potential ones that I would have gone for. Jack Wilshere's performance against Barcelona many moons ago was obviously a breakout performance. Won't go into it too much. And then the other one that sticks out in my head is again a match with Arsenal against Barcelona. It was Arshavin's goal against Barcelona at the Emirates. But what I'm actually choosing to put in is again another Arsenal goal, but it's going to be Thierry Henry's goal against Leeds United on his return to Arsenal with a classic bit of commentary, which is probably going to be best spoken by the person next to me, Rich, who's got much more experience commentating than me. But the lines of "he may be cast in bronze, but he's still capable of producing truly golden moments" is one of the most iconic commentary lines I think ever, and just an absolutely beautiful moment for any Arsenal fan, I think. So I think that's a very worthy entry into this Hall of Fame, and happy to say it's the first entry as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no matter what people bring now, yours will be the first. No, like, if someone's is better than yours, doesn't matter. Yours is the first one in there.
It's nice for Arsenal not to be second on this occasion.
It is. I should have made you go second. That's disappointing. Rich, what are you putting in?
Well, obviously it's been a weekend at Wembley for both you two. So mine is a Barnsley appearance at Wembley 10 years ago now. Playoff final, League One versus Millwall. It's not the game. It's not the scoreline. It's the individual performance. If you've not dug this out, Adam Hamill scores two absolute worldies. Adam Hamill is going into the trophy room just on that performance alone.
I remember the name. I recognise his name, but I didn't know he played for Barnsley. Didn't know that happened. He's just one of them footballers that just in the back of my mind from something.
What a player. What a player. What a performance. Dig out the goals and look at them. 3-1 win.
I'll do that as soon as we stop recording. And then I will put something in. One of my first choices, I think it's fairly obvious what I'm going to go for. But I've brought a bit of a show and tell for my runner-up. It is my Aitana Bonmati Ballon d'Or relic card. That little piece of red in the card is from the red carpet at the Ballon d'Or when she won her second. She's one of my favourite players, and I got very lucky with packing that card. But being a City fan, it's quite obvious that I'm going to put Aguero's 93-20 goal in there. I think if I put anything else in there, I'd have a lot of City fans coming for me. But yeah, I think I'll stick that one in there. No Kepa in the Carabao Cup final. Yeah, Kieran.
No, I'm sure we'll get into it in a few moments, but absolutely abysmal moment and one that I'm very hoping to quickly forget, to be honest with you, Dan.
He's got a history for it, doesn't he?
We're starting with that. That's what we're starting with this week.
We're starting with it? Well, I mean, as soon as I went on Twitter after the game yesterday, I saw like the thing about Kepa's record, in like the League Cup final. Not a great omen in all reality. And I mean, it's easy to obviously pinpoint the mistake. It did change the game, but I do think City were coming on strong. And I'll have some comments on that halftime team talk soon. But yeah, catastrophic mistake, and I don't think he should have started that game. I think when you're that desperate for a trophy, you can't put sentiment ahead of winning that game. That's kind of what's happened there. He ultimately is a cup keeper, but you need to win a trophy. You should go with your first choice goalkeeper. I think it's different for Man City, who've obviously won a lot. And obviously Trafford was actually meant to be your first choice goalkeeper, so I think it's a completely different scenario over there. But for Arsenal, I think Arteta got that one wrong. Unfortunately, I think Raya should have started that game.
Is it a case of Raya should have started, or you should just have a better cup keeper? Like if you're bringing in Kepa to be your second choice keeper, should it be someone better anyway? Like
Kepa's not a bad keeper.
Yeah,
Kepa's not a bad keeper.
I was going to say the same thing. I think it's would be really harsh to say that, to be honest. I don't think there's many better backup goalkeepers, even globally, not just in the Premier League. Now, I don't think Kepa's good enough to start for many teams, but I think he's a really good option B, and I think that moment is like pinpointing one bad moment. He has made some good saves along the way too, but yeah.
Do you know what? I think the thing with the goalkeeper, it's a great place to start. I actually think it's more the case of Kepa is... Some teams have got a first and a second choice goalkeeper. And I think it's very clear. Like, James Trafford is the second choice goalkeeper. Stefan Ortega was the second choice goalkeeper at Man City. But they play the cup competitions. Kepa, he had that problem when he first went there, Arteta, when Ramsdale were there and then he brought in Raya and he were trying to sort of dictate which one he wants. And it was very clear that Raya is my number one. I don't see there's any problem in playing Kepa there, in my opinion. But then you've got to back it, and you expect the mistake from him. Like, did he get it wrong? Probably so, but it's not all on him. And I think I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans on social saying Kepa was the reason we lost this game. I think that's papering over a lot of cracks.
It's one thing we've done. Like we've always stuck to cup keepers or backup keepers. Like, even when they're not good enough. There was an FA Cup run a few years ago. I think it was the year we didn't win anything. We stuck with Zach Steffen in goal. And I don't want to be mean to the guy, but I'm glad he's not a City player anymore. Like, we semi-final against Liverpool at Wembley. We're 3-0 down at half-time because he's given the ball away twice. And just killed the game off. But Pep just stuck with it. You've got to live with that. Like, I think if you're going to say to this keeper at the start of the season, you're going to play our cup games. Like, whether we get to the final, you're playing them all. Like,
does he play him against Southampton in the FA Cup, Kepa? Does he spin him back out? Because that's the next game, right? Southampton, I think.
It's one where it's hard to comment because you don't really know what's being said behind the scenes, right? If he's promised him the cup games, then I've got no issue with it. And obviously, as fans, we're just never going to be privy to that information of what's being promised, right? Maybe he wouldn't have joined Arsenal in this scenario if he wasn't promised X amount of games, right? Especially a keeper like Kepa, who, again, I don't think he's good enough for like an elite team's first choice, but he definitely could, be a starting keeper for most of the teams in the bottom half of the table if he wanted to play more. So I'm going to assume he's been promised the cup games, is what I'm going to assume. That being said, I do want to just go back to my comment of Arsenal needed this win. I want to reiterate, I'm aware, League Cup, Mickey Mouse Cup, whatever. I don't think this game was about winning the trophy, and I've said this pre-game. It was about beating Man City for Arsenal. It was purely a mental game. Unfortunately, Man City won it, and I think that's going to give them a bit of an edge in the Premier League now, or at least a bit more motivation for it. So, just with that theory, I think Arteta should have gone with Raya. But again, if that promise has been made, I get why it was Kepa.
I won't take any slander of the Carabao Cup. I'm not having you calling it a Mickey Mouse trophy.
Imagine that. The Man City fan who's won it about 10 times in the past 15 years thinks it's a premium trophy.
Because it is. Like, if we care about it, there's a reason we won 4 in a row. Like, it's a big trophy, and it's one that gives you a bit of momentum. Like you said, it's not necessarily... If we played this in May, same time as the FA Cup final, yeah, kind of a little bit. But with the timing of it and the point in the season, every year we've won it, we've been fighting for the league title as well, and it's given us that extra push. And like you said, it's just that momentum shift or the mentality that Arsenal didn't attack yesterday. You had that one chance in the first half. Trafford made like that incredible triple save. But aside from that, maybe the last 10 minutes when Jesus hit the bar, you were playing for a point in a cup final.
I'll jump in on the triple save. That was, come on, every shot was straight at him. I'm saving those. Come on.
The cross was straight at Kepa. That is.
Yeah.
You can make the point all you want.
Get out. The shots were really poor, but no, I agree with like the second half comment, and I kind of alluded to it earlier. I don't know what Arteta said at half time, even though like the first half was even enough. Like there was a dominant bit of possession, but the chances were like even, right? The second half, it was like a different team came out. I think I put into one of our chats, like Arteta needs to get the light bulbs back because whatever he said at half time was horrific. It was just a different team that came out, just one that was scared to be on the ball for whatever reason. We just sat back and invited pressure, and you can't do that against any top team. It ultimately ended up biting us, which is why I don't put all the blame on Kepa. His mistake obviously laid a platform for what was to come, obviously, but even before that, the writing was kind of on the wall. We couldn't touch the ball. We didn't want to get out.
But I think even when you had the ball, we didn't press you because you didn't know what you wanted to do with it. There was times where you sat with just passing it between your centre halves and Kepa. Haaland was just stood there and not pressing because.
Well, that was like a tactical thing that I think was spotted early. Kepa stood on the ball for like, I think if you timed it, it was probably at least like 30, 45 seconds. It seemed longer at the time. And like Twitter was exaggerating, like, oh, he was on the ball for half an hour. He wasn't, but was he holding the ball longer than normal? Yes. Yeah. But then you can see Kepa with the ball here, and then 4 Man City players literally in a row, all refusing to press him because Pep knows that's what Arsenal want. They want to lead out or suck out that one player. And Man City were set up not to fall for that. And unfortunately, that's going to be the memories of the game for most people. Kepa holding the ball and then Kepa dropping the ball. Rich?
Do you think you went wrong by playing Havertz?
I think he was forced into that. Like, I don't know what's going on with Odegaard right now. Apparently just I don't know what's happened. I don't know what this injury is. It just seems to be ongoing forever.
Any sort of creativity, really.
I think the Eza change was, or at least seemingly very late. At least wasn't public until on the day. I think that's a big miss, especially with how we've been playing recently. I like to think the game would have been different if Eza was playing. I don't know if that necessarily constitutes us winning the game, but it definitely would have been a different game. I don't think Arteta had much choice there over who was going to play in that role, just given all the other options are unavailable.
Actually, I don't think the creativity thing is like strictly down to Havertz. Like you've got your wingers on the pitch that I don't really think were too threatening.
Oh, Trossard was terrible.
No,
may as well not have played.
The only one who I remember doing anything was maybe Madueke towards the end, where he put, or it might, I don't even know if it was Madueke that put that cross in towards the end, where you had that chance.
There was a real lack of quality on the pitch altogether, though. Like I'm watching as a neutral, and
it must have been a horrible final to watch.
It weren't
really
like
bad.
The one, you know, the game's bad when the one bright spot in the first half was Kusanov running through Gyökeres and getting I think he got booked very early.
It was such a good tackle as well.
And then the second highlight of the first half was Semenyo skinning Hincapié and putting a cross into the back post. And for me, watching it, that was the moment where the game seemed to turn. As soon as Semenyo knew that he had Hincapié, and City knew that that's the outball, because Doku was he didn't offer much really at all. He's decent in spells, but Semenyo I thought was outstanding. I thought he was the one real player for City that looked always lively. But it was a very poor final. But I feel like a lot of these Carabao Cup finals have been poor recently. Like Newcastle last year were good, but before that, Liverpool beat the Mickey Mouse Chelsea team, and then City won it for about 17 years in a row. So it's always a poor final.
Well, it was Semenyo who got Hincapié on the yellow early on, and I think from that point they kind of decided that's the side they're going down. Like you had Calafiori warming up at half time. It was quite obvious that change was coming. I just think Arteta would have made it. I think he thinks he should have made it earlier, because I think it was as he was about to make it, we scored the first.
Yeah,
Should have been done at half time.
Yeah,
they were warming up as the second one went in. It was as soon as the Nkapia yellow got given, there was always going to be trouble. Like, it was a stupid challenge from him, and my initial reaction was, I really hope I'm not going to see a replay in a minute that's going to go to and lead to a red card. Just speaking of cards very quickly, again, this doesn't change the game. How does Bernardo Silva avoid a yellow card so much? 3 fouls in 25 minutes, and he doesn't get a card. It's incredible.
I think you're just saying this because you had a bet on Bernardo Silva to get booked.
I did.
Do you know what trait he got? Do you know what trait's been passed down through the City archive? He got the Fernandinho trait.
One. Yeah.
Fernandinho used to give away out 16 fouls a game
as soon as
and
you
never get booked.
Armband. Yeah, you can get away with anything.
Listen, as an Arsenal fan and having a manager like Mikel Arteta, who is obviously related to Pep, I appreciate the dark arts better than most people, but Bernardo just gets away with every little foul. Again, like, that many fouls so quick, and again, yes, I had a bet on it, so I did want it to happen. But the point stands. That's insane, especially given what was getting pulled up on.
Yeah, it was such quick succession as well. I think even on the third one, he were like, "Oh, sorry, ref."
Yeah. No, he knows what he's doing. He's playing it well. He actually reminds me, and Tottenham fans that will hate this comparison. Not that any will be listening. I used to have this opinion, and people won't like this because he's a universally loved player, that Heung-min Son is one of the dirtiest players we've ever seen.
Oh, I agree.
I
agree.
Off the field, he must be a lovely man, and I assume he is. But he was so dirty as a player. Well, in fact, maybe the word I should be using, he was so clever as a player. Used to foul so much, and there were sneaky fouls. Always sneaky fouls, and they never looked too bad initially, but then you see the replay, and he's really done something. He's just a master of getting away with it, and I think that's what Bernardo's kind of mastered again. It's a skill in itself.
No, Bernardo's not sneaky. He just does it blatantly, and then goes, "Sorry, ref. Sorry, didn't mean to."
Right. We'll add this to the 115 charges down.
116 now, then. Yeah. Get Bernardo on the list. I think it's a bit of an issue if your player's going down from a challenge from Bernardo Silva. That's an issue in itself.
Come on, he kicks people down.
He's 5.5 foot. You can't be going down to a shoulder pad from Bernardo.
He's ridiculous. But as I said,
one yellow card I do want to bring up is Kepa's. I know we're back to the goalkeepers. I don't understand how that wasn't a red card.
There was a player back. It wasn't.
He was going away from goal.
Yeah, if it's an open goal, I'd agree. But I think the yellow was right.
But he stopped the game. Like, Doku still had the ball, was in front of Kepa, and he stopped.
Yeah, but Doku's also got his hands on him, so I think it's like a mutual foul. But you give the foul again to Kepa because of the attacking player. But again, if there isn't a centre back covering, I agree it's red. But I think yellow was right.
I've seen Doku kick the ball. He's not making the net from there.
Yeah, he's probably going to miss.
He can't kick it hard enough.
He scored 1 goal from outside the box in his career.
He can't kick it hard enough. Paul, I mean, when you actually look at I suppose the big picture, I mean, you said it, Kieran, Arsenal needed to beat Man City. You play him in, is it 4 weeks?
Yeah.
Is this the perfect time for the international break, though? Or is it an awful time? Because do you just want to get that? Do you just want to get a win? Now all the players go away. They come back in probably a week and a half. You've got FA Cup, Easter weekend, and then you're straight back into the Prem.
I think it's a bit of a mix. Like, if I was to give my opinion, what I know about football compared to Mikel Arteta is nothing, right? Like he knows nowhere near as much as me. But I would want to play another game straight away. Just get it out the system. I wouldn't want it to be like Man City, but I'd want a game just to get back into the rhythm.
Just anything.
Yeah, just anything. But with Arsenal, for whatever reason, these training camps seem to work. Like, I think it was like the other season, they were like in horrific form, went to Dubai for like 8 days, came back and won like 10 in a row. It was ridiculous. We need that kind of reset. So I would rather we got into another game. But judging by Arsenal's history, I think the break is actually coming at a good point, especially as it looks like not too many of our players are going to feature internationally, although Ben White has just been called up. But quite a few of our players have suddenly got some injuries apparently, which are going to...
Saliba suddenly picked up an injury like 20 minutes after the full-time whistle yesterday. I don't know where that came from.
Well, that one worried me a bit, because I forgot about the international break for a moment, but then I was like, I wonder if this is just precaution. But I don't want to hear that from a Man City fan, because Pep's been doing this for about 15 years, so come on.
There's a reason we win 6 league titles in 7 seasons. You've got to do everything.
He knows what he's doing. But go on.
Do you want to be playing City so soon after you come back though. I think we've got 2 weeks. I think end of April we play.
I'd rather just not play them at all. I think if that City game's not there, I think we win the league. I think the problem we've got now, the gap in the Premier League isn't what the media portray it to be.
Not 9 points.
It's not a 9-point gap, but if Arsenal lose it now, it's that they've bottled a 9-point gap, which never actually existed. Man City do have a game in hand, which they're probably going to win, which brings it to 6. And then there is an old-fashioned 6-pointer game coming up between Arsenal and Man City. So it's still in Arsenal's hands, but that game just, I think, gives Man City a real mental edge, which is why it was so important. But
I think, we need you to lose one and we win everything. Or one on top of the City game and we win everything.
Yeah, it's just not as big a gap as it's made out to be. I know everyone's just getting ready to try and jump on Arsenal being bottlers again, but
I think they will.
Right. Do you know what? I actually think that that Southampton game is massive. Southampton, I don't know how much you watch Championship. They're unbeaten, I think, in 11. They've flown up the table. They're right on the edge of the playoffs. That's a big game. They beat Fulham in the last round of the FA Cup as well. If Arsenal don't, it has to be a clean sheet. It has to be a relatively comfortable win. If that's nervy, I mean, best case scenario for Man City fans, that goes late, extra time, pens, force Arsenal deep into the game. But I think that could be a tough one. That is a complete howler, really, for me. I know it doesn't affect Premier League, but confidence-wise, momentum, that could be a derailer.
Yeah, and another thing that Arsenal have to worry about is Champions League as well. City can go till the end of the season now playing one game a week. You get a full week recovery into the next game of the weekend. Whereas, I mean, I was hearing last week that Arsenal were doing the quadruple, so they're playing like.
You haven't heard that from any Arsenal fans, though. You've heard that from Twitter. No Arsenal fan has been going on about the quadruple.
Maybe not, but I've heard it, so I'm running with it. But like you'll be playing Champions League. I'd assume you're going to beat Sport in the next round. But no matter how easy those games are, it's still 2 sets of 90 minutes. You've got to travel to Portugal in midweek. You then got a semi-final, which will be Barca, I think. Is on your side?
More than likely, yeah.
I can't remember the layout, but I just remember being told, Arsenal got the easy draw. It's like, at this stage, there is no easy draw. Is it an easier than the other side? Sure, but no draws.
Last thing from me on this Arsenal-Man City sort of thing. I think it's a great point to ask this question because there is a break in the season now. And the back end of the season, when we're recording these shows, it's going to be game. So I think it's a good point to reflect. If he doesn't win the Premier League from here, Arteta surely has to get sacked now, Kieran.
No.
If you don't win the Premier League from this point, it's the 23rd of March. There is, 8 games left in the Prem? 7 games, I think. If you don't win the Premier League from this point, and I know what you're saying there, it's not 9 points, but right now it is 9 points. If you don't win the Premier League, surely Arteta has to be let go with the money they've spent, with the lead they've got, or with the squad they've built.
No. I think if he doesn't end the season with a trophy, the conversation should start. I don't think it has to be the Premier League as much as I want it to be the Premier League. Out of all the trophies we could win, I want the Premier League the most. But
runner-up in the Champions League, second in the Premier League, you win an FA Cup. Is he starting next season at Arsenal?
Yeah.
FA Cup is good enough for you.
It's not, but where I'm coming at it, like my thought process is, who do you actually replace him with right now? Who is better? Because although the joke is Arsenal coming second, whether it's in a final or league, right? Although that is the thing, factually, in the past 3-4 years, he's won more matches than 99% of managers on the planet. Like factually, in the top 5 leagues anyway, he's won more games. It's very disappointing that the trophy's out there, but there isn't a better option available out there other than Pep, who is, in my opinion, the best manager of all time. So who would you even bring in? I don't want Alonso. I think he's a fraud. I think he's going to go to Liverpool and fail. And I'm glad that's on record now, because that's what's going to happen. He's going to come in for slot. Liverpool fans are going to be excited, and then you'll see what happens, because a free at the back won't work in the Premier League.
You follow the Arsenal way, no? You go for another Pep. Pep Linders, another Man City number 2.
If Liverpool didn't fancy him, I don't think Arsenal will fancy him. But just to circle back to the question, I think if he wins a trophy, he deserves to stay on. I think what he's done for Arsenal is something that I don't think many other managers could have done. And I think ultimately he's a bit of a victim of circumstance, and he's coming up against, again, in my opinion, the greatest manager of all time in Pep. So
is it just a case of waiting out Pep and then you can win everything?
I don't think it has to be that. I think, again, we should win the Premier League this year. We should. It's just a should though. It's not a definite. But for me, I wouldn't get rid of him based off of this year, unless something goes catastrophically wrong in these last few weeks. Of course, things could change, but yeah, it has to be Premier League or UCL for me in my head. But even if he only won the FA Cup and finished his runner-up in the other two, I couldn't sack him just off that. I think he's done too much for Arsenal. I think he deserves at least one more shot, which I know some Arsenal fans won't agree with, but I'd give him another year.
I just don't know how he come back from that. Like, so much is said about Arsenal finishing second, and as much as it is like, it is a bit of a joke. Has he got the mentality to turn that squad around after another season of finishing second and being like, let's go again?
I just don't know what more you can really do at this point. I think when I look at that Arsenal squad, and obviously there'll be some bias there, but even like yesterday's game, right, Arsenal versus Man City, when I do like a combined 11, which isn't really a good way to predict a game, I truly wouldn't, man for man, pick many Man City players over the Arsenal team. Yeah. The starting 11's a bit different because of what happened with both teams who got injuries. But man for man, I truly believe yesterday there was more better Arsenal players on the field. Yeah. So then you have to look at the manager, right? But back to what I said earlier, I think you put any other manager on that Man City team, and Arteta wins that game yesterday. I just think Pep is that good, tactically set up, and I think the second half showed the difference between how good Pep is tactically, and I just don't know what was said at halftime to Arsenal because we just didn't come out.
But I also just think the Arsenal players themselves, they kept saying this stat on when I was watching on Sky, Declan Rice first continental final, first final he's had in England, and they're sort of building this narrative that Arsenal don't have winners in the team, and I've heard that said a lot. Like their team, there's no winner in the team. There's nobody who's other than I think Gabriel Jesus, maybe. Obviously won with Man City. They have to win this season. This, I don't think there's also going to be a better opportunity to win the Premier League than there is this year. Because
I think that was said last year though, and that also got said in the Champions League for Arsenal, and we should have won the Champions League last year. So although I agree, I think on paper, yes, we should win it. I don't think it's a case of there'll never be a better chance because I said the exact same last year, and then we're back in this position again. So, but I agree on the winners comment. That is another thing that probably needs highlighted because again, back to the comparisons of like, can you really name better centre backs in the world right now than Saliba and Gabriel? Probably not, but they haven't won anything yet. Yeah. So the winners comment I think is very, very valid, and there's not too many ways to fix that without winning something. You just got to win it. You just got to win it yourself. And obviously, I don't think the Gabriel Jesus one's not really worth mentioning because it's clear that he is not a leader in that dressing room. I think it's probably fair to say he was carried to most 11 trophies anyway at Man City. He was never really the star, and if it wouldn't be at Arsenal if he was, right? So Pep wouldn't let go of a winner, of someone who we thought was going to drag teams to be a winner. So
there's a reason you signed Jesus Zinchenko, and probably I'm sure there was some others in there that you've had offers.
Yeah, probably.
Well, he scored the goal to get us 100 points. That's all I wanted from him. Don't need to do anything else.
Yeah,
I feel like we've done 25 minutes on Carabao Cup and not even mentioned the best player on the pitch, Nico O'Reilly. It's like, I've been big on the Nico train for probably about a year now since he came to the first team. I think he's start of the season. People were saying, "Oh, should he be on the England playing for the World Cup?" I think he's maybe one of the first names on the list now.
I think his issue is where would you play him for England? Because he's a pet player, is what he is.
That's the issue.
Where he can play a left back, he can play a centre mid, CDM, he can probably do a semi decent job in the wing, but he's just covering that mid fullback spot that Pep has obviously become famous for with his tactics.
Yeah.
And I think it's a case of where would you actually put him for England? I'm not saying yes or no, by the way. I'm just saying it is a question of position.
I think considering the lack of options we have at left back, no matter what system Tuchel plays, I'd be playing him there. Like I believe he's good enough to kind of fit whatever Tuchel decides to do. Like whether he's that more attacking fullback or he doesn't start. You don't think he starts?
No, Lewis Hall starts. Lewis Hall's a better left back than Nico O'Reilly. I think that's pretty cut and dry. He might be a better footballer, Nico O'Reilly. He might be better in the box. He might be going forward.
Yeah.
But Lewis Hall, if we're playing a back four, Lewis Hall is a better left back than Nico O'Reilly. We saw Nico O'Reilly got exposed in a big game against Real Madrid. He got ran through by Valverde.
So did the whole team. That's not...
Well, a lot of fingers were pointed at Nico O'Reilly, and I think it shows great character that he's bounced back and done what he's done in the final. And I watched the interview with him afterwards. He seemed really composed. He seemed like he's a very motivated player. He's switched on. He knows what he wants out of the game. But it's weird to say, but I actually thought outside the 2 goals, I thought City's best player other than Nico O'Reilly was Ake. I thought Ake was outstanding.
Ake had a great game.
He absolutely dominated Gyökeres all game long.
Him and Kusanov. Like when I think it was probably 2 or 3 hours before kickoff, they were like, "Oh, Diaz is out injured with a hamstring." That's
Arsenal probably sat there rubbing their hands, thinking, "Right, get it, Kusanov. Young, naive. He's quick, but we can get him riled up." Ake, he's not played. He must have played less than 15, 20 games in the last 2 seasons.
Every time Ake gets subbed on, I think he's not lasting until the end of the game. I always think he's going to come off injured, even coming off the bench. Kusanov, I wasn't worried about. I love Kusanov. I genuinely... Because nobody actually watches City, they think he's still that kid who made the mistake against Chelsea. Oh, he's had a shaky first year. No, he had a shaky first 10 minutes. And since then, has arguably been one of the best defenders in the league. So I wasn't nervous that Kusanov was starting. I wanted Kusanov to start. Yeah, it would have been great if Diaz played. But I think Ake, given the circumstances, filled in and had arguably one of his best games in a City shirt.
Yeah, he was good. He was really good.
Didn't really offer anything. There was one more thing I want to touch on in terms of the cup final, and that is Ryan Shirky's kick-ups with 20 minutes to go. Seeing a lot of people saying it's disrespectful. You shouldn't be doing that in a cup final. It's boring without it. I think it's great.
I think it depends what team you support. I think because Arsenal have obviously got a lot of people who are just rooting against them. It's hilarious to them. I'll be honest, I don't care for it too much. What I want to see from one of my players is him getting 2-footed straight after, because that's what he deserves ultimately. And I would expect the same if Saka was doing that too. Like you shouldn't be doing it. I think Pep's reaction kind of summed it up as well. Yeah. I think most people have seen the video of him. He clearly wasn't impressed by it. And I did see a fun tweet about when Ronaldinho was doing this, he got shipped off for it. So it kind of is not nice to see against your own team. But again, Arsenal shouldn't let him be in a position to do that. He should. Gary Neville would have absolutely battered him for that. He wouldn't have been allowed to do that if Neville could have had the piss to get near him.
Commentary. He wasn't happy with him.
Yeah. What do you think on that, Rich? That's more of a neutral view from you. What do you think?
I mean, if I'm watching Barnsley and that player starts doing kick-ups against us, he's not making out of the stadium. Never mind off the pitch. I don't know. I seem to remember we saw it. I think Richarlison did it a few years ago when he was playing for Spurs, and someone just absolutely went through him. I'm pretty sure they booted him just on the Achilles, and Jimmy Carragher literally said yeah, it's deserved. You don't. There's doing skills, there's showboating, and I suppose there's he's just taking the piss, and also, though, Shirky comes across like that player that he's going to like. I think he did one in the other corner flag where he just started doing skills, and I mean, it adds a bit of flair to the game, doesn't it? But I don't know. Ben White got booked straight afterwards for hammering him.
Probably all he wanted from it.
Yeah,
get Ben White rattled a little bit and get him on a yellow. But remember, like he got slated. There was a goal. I think it was against Sunderland. He set up a goal with a Rabona cross. Even though he is so strong-footed, he can put a cross in whatever angle he is. He can just use his stronger foot. Yeah. And he cut back and put in a Rabona cross, and Pep was going mad at him for it, and so was the commentary.
I don't think Pep likes any form of showboating at all. Like
unless it's Messi.
Yeah,
Messi's allowed to do it. No one else.
Messi's the only player that can do anything fun. Yeah.
I come back to that, as I said, the Ronaldinho comment. If you haven't seen it, please do look it up. But it's kind of pretty funny. Not that I think Sheik is about to be sold or anything, but I'm very confident with what we know about Pep. There's going to be
only made one
comments.
sub, didn't he? He made one sub, Pep.
Made one sub.
And it was Chirky got brought off for Foden.
Yeah. It was not 90th minute. I don't think that was. Yeah. I don't think it was related.
I don't know.
Do you remember a few years ago? This was not related to Pep at all, but just to kind of bring up the whole showboating thing. It was Man City again. It was pre-season, and I think Mancini was the coach.
Oh, Balotelli.
Balotelli did. I can't remember what the skill move was. One where he like turns and tries to shoot with a back heel. Yeah. Mancini pulled him straight off. Like not doing that.
Yeah. And Balotelli's excuse was like, "Oh, I didn't hit. I thought I was offside. I heard a whistle, so I was just messing." I was like, "No, you didn't."
Balotelli, come on.
You remember playing LA Galaxy in a pre-season friendly, like
when Neymar did the rainbow flick and got booked for it by the ref?
Yeah. I think you're moving swiftly on with that Neymar comment.
There's a very skilled segue there from Rich.
Anytime.
Yeah, I think it was the overlap where this conversation first started. They were talking about Neymar, and I think it was they were saying that there's no prime in their prime, no Premier League player is better than Neymar, and I agree with that. Well, the only player.
Do you mean current Premier League player, or do you mean all time? Because all time is that's a really, really bad one to. It's a really bad hill to die on.
No, I genuinely, maybe aside from, who I think is the greatest Premier League player ever. You're not going to agree with me. It's Kevin De Bruyne. But prime Neymar, like
this is a rough debut, Dan. Really rough debut.
So you're saying Neymar's better than
any player in the Premier League ever?
In fairness, I didn't watch Henry in the Premier League. So from my era, probably like when City started winning things, probably like 2010 onwards, like I don't think there's been a better Premier League player.
But just to clarify, because me and Rich are both very head in hands right now, you are telling me you think prime Neymar. There has never been a better player to play in the Premier League than prime Neymar. That is what you're saying.
While they've been in the Premier League, like obviously I know Ronaldo's played in the Premier League and like won Ballon d'Ors and whatever. But while
Ronaldo won a Ballon d'Or at Man United in the treble-winning season.
But aside
when they won the Champions League, Premier League.
Aside from Messi and Ronaldo, I think.
Okay.
I'm saying Messi's not playing in the Premier League, but aside from Messi and Ronaldo, because otherwise Neymar would have won a Ballon d'Or. If them two weren't playing, Neymar would have won a Ballon d'Or.
Neymar never got close to a Ballon d'Or. Henry got robbed of a Ballon d'Or.
I actually think Luis Suarez is better than Neymar, and I think Luis Suarez at Liverpool.
Yeah,
that season when he scored 30.
That was freakish.
35 goals in 30 games.
Is that the year where he just pinged that volley against Norwich? Well,
he missed the first 8 games of the season, I think it was, and then went on to basically single-handedly put Liverpool within touching distance of Man City. I think Suarez. I know there were a lot of conversation about Rooney when I saw this debate, Rooney versus Neymar. I think they're very, very difficult players to put against because they're very different.
Yeah, the positional thing's hard. I don't think we can probably come up with many wingers who are going to come into that conversation.
I think Neymar's better than Hazard.
100%. Yeah.
I think
longevity gets Neymar over Hazard, but I think Hazard's like 3 or 4 years at Chelsea. I think we're above Neymar in terms of where he reached at that time. I also think
Hazard was Hazard did it in the Premier League, But you get to the Champions League, and I can't think of a particular standout Hazard performance. Whereas like Neymar obviously won.
I find it hard to pick out a Neymar standout performance. I just remember him being good.
Throughout
Obviously,
yeah.
He was great at Santos. He was fantastic at Barcelona.
Yeah.
That front three, Messi, Neymar, Suarez, was unbelievable, and they put up great numbers. But the three of them, it was a tandem between them.
I think that's why a lot of people don't tend to think of Neymar as like so highly, because obviously Messi was.
He was the worst out of the three.
He was the worst out of the three. He might have been the worst out of the three, but that's still a very high level. Like
yeah, but in that three, you've got to remember is Luis Suarez, who Rich is arguing is above Neymar.
Gareth Bale.
Yeah, I wouldn't have Neymar over Bale.
Premier League Gareth Bale, or are we talking like Real Madrid?
Premier League Gareth Bale last season at Spurs when he was unbelievable. I think that's a serious. I think that's a great conversation.
I think that's a closer debate than Rooney. I think. Again, it's more because you can compare. You can compare them a bit easier. Like they're both the same position.
I think
closer than Rooney.
That's in the same way that like some of these older heads, especially in the media, right, are going to have some bias towards the previous generation of players. I think what's happening right now is this is like a designed concept where we're just putting two different generations against each other, because the original conversation obviously was Rooney versus Neymar, who granted tiny little bit of crossover, right, but not. They were both in their primes at the same time ultimately. If I'm picking a team, taking positions out of it, right, I think I would want Rooney in my team more. I think he just offers so much more as a footballer. He obviously can factually cover more positions, but I think he just offers a whole lot more. I also, and this won't, just people won't like this, but Dan already knows where I'm going with this. I think Neymar was brilliant, world class on his day, but I also think tad overrated as well. Which maybe it's a conversation for another day, but I'll happily do the conversation of my most overrated players of all time, which again might be one for another day. But Neymar was very, very good, very, very good, and more talented than I'll ever be at anything, right? But I just can't listen. Not that I can't listen. I can't engage in this conversation without being like, just no. I would not pick Neymar over Rooney. I would not pick him, to Rich's point, even over Suarez. Take out the strikers, like Henry was a striker/winger. I'm not picking him over Henry, and you're welcome to say Arsenal bias there, of course. But Henry was freakish when he was playing. There's a reason when you ask ex-Premier League players, who's the best player you've ever played against, they all say Thierry Henry.
Yeah.
Thierry Henry is your favourite football player's favourite football player for Premier League players. He just is.
I can't say I watched Henry's prime. I can't argue with the Henry point.
We get it, Dan. You're a bit younger than all of us. we are a bit older.
The last thing for me that's going to completely kill this debate altogether. So the point was, no Premier League player in their prime is better than prime Neymar. Correct? That's the crux of the point.
That was the starting point of it all, yeah.
Virgil van Dijk was the best centre-back in the world, and no one came close during his prime at Liverpool.
Yeah.
He finished third in the Ballon d'Or, behind, I'm pretty sure, that one season.
Yeah. Well, centre-backs are boring though, aren't they?
Yeah, but that's the point.
This is the conversation, though. Like positionally, I think we've already established. Like we're not going to be able to name too many just direct left wingers. Again, very specifically, direct left wingers. We're not going to name too many of them because there hasn't been all that many of them. Like one thing I actually think the world lacks currently, especially the Premier League right now, is elite wingers. There's some good ones like Salah, Saka, etc. There's not actually that many elite ones who you put into the debate, especially on the left side. All of them are on the right.
I think recently you've probably got Hazard and Mane that you could put up there.
Yeah, the left.
Yeah, off the left.
Yeah,
maybe Sane for those 1 or 2 seasons at City. But even then, I don't think he was breaking that world class barrier like Mane was. Yeah. But
I just think
left wingers, I don't think there's too many.
It's a great conversation. It's a great debate, and I also think I think Neymar is, because of the character that he is, especially within the media, undervalued for how good he was. But he's also not, in my opinion, in a conversation. People say, like, Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar of like this current generation of era, I would have. He would probably be like 8th or 9th for me, personally speaking. I would have Messi, Ronaldo, Suarez. I'd have Benzema above him. I'd probably even have Mo Salah on what Salah has done over him as well. I'd Kevin De Bruyne, I think that's one as well. I would have above Neymar. Van Dijk, I would have above Neymar. There's players that I think have done more, offered more, and achieved more. Mbappe is better than Neymar already. Done, in my opinion. Mbappe has dominated the World Cup on 2 different occasions. He scored a hat-trick in the final. He guided France at 19 to a World Cup win in 2018. And he's done it for PSG and now doing it for Real Madrid. All he needs is a Champions League. He's on his way to being the top goal scorer ever at the World Cup. If he has a good World Cup this year, he might even break that record. He's the reason Neymar left PSG is because Mbappe took the shine off him.
Do you think? I know you said Mbappe's missing the Champions League. Do you think Neymar missing a World Cup is what people because that was kind of the big thing? Like 2014, it was the Brazil World Cup. It's Neymar. It was Neymar's chance to win it, take it home. 2018, again, he kind of carried them as far as he could, and just couldn't get past. I think it was the semi-finals they went out in. But like, would he be a bit more respected in the media if he had a World Cup to his name as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think he would be, but he's not.
I'm a big Neymar fanboy, so like I'm gonna stand by him.
I think the World Cup one's like really tough because there's also some like really bang average players who can say that they've won a World Cup just through being part of these squads, right? Like that Argentina team that won it with Messi, right?
Molina scored the World Cup penalty.
Yeah. There's some really not even just poor but very below average players who've got a World Cup medal, and again, granted, more talented than I'll ever be, so it's not meant to be a diss. But like when we're talking about like these elite players, the World Cup conversation is tricky. Granted, it adds a lot of shine, right? It really, really does. But it's also sometimes not really fair when you're comparing the nations as well. Messi did, in a way, drag that Argentina team to a World Cup. He also got some very favourable decisions, but that's maybe a chat for another day. But like you go back to like previous World Cup winning teams like Brazil, where the full starting 11 is just all legends of the game, right? You can't say that for these current teams.
No.
But then there's also
you can say that for many of the current national teams.
It doesn't see it. Maybe it's like a bias thing. Maybe in a few years we'll look back at some of these players and think differently. But I kind of got off track a bit. Like when we were doing these comparisons and stuff, Neymar's had some semi-decent Brazil teams. Rooney's had some pretty good England teams who just never really clicked. But then when you're doing these comparisons and bringing the World Cup into it, players like Mo Salah are just never going to enter the debate if we're going to base it off a World Cup. I actually forgot about Salah when we were doing that comparison, but I 100% agree with Rich. That period for Liverpool, I hate Liverpool. I absolutely hated playing Mo Salah. I agree. I'd pick that version of Salah over Neymar. I'd pick him every single day.
No, I think that's as much as I disagree. I think that's fair.
Well, it's not a segment where we were going to.
I don't think we're going to come out of that with 20 minutes and be like, actually, yeah, we all agree on that.
I do think, not that it's going to happen while we're live recording, but if I sat down, I think I could come up with a fairly comprehensive list of players who I think, even in this era, I would take over Neymar. And then going to the previous era, I think the list would actually be pretty sufficient. I think I can get to 25, which I know some people aren't going to like to hear that, and that's fair enough. Everyone will have their own opinion. But I'm sure some people will be listening and thinking, I'd probably name 50.
Well,
because at the end of the day, it's down to opinion.
International break next week, so we can sit for an hour and you can list all the players you think are better than Neymar.
Yeah, you guys just going to judge them like, nope, yep, nope, yep.
Should we move on to what seemed like Spurs' relegation party at the weekend? They seemed to be bigging up this game as if it was a cup final. Arsenal were playing their own cup final and Spurs were playing a relegation 6-pointer that seemed to have more hype behind it. It was an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a bit of a conversation over who had the worst weekend. Was it Arsenal fans or was it Spurs fans? Because it was pretty tragic for both. But I don't know what's going on at that club. I obviously take a bit of joy out of what's happening over there. I'm actually one of the few fans who's actually a bit torn on whether I want them to go down or not. I've got my own thoughts on that, but the situation is hilarious. The parade has really added to that. And I'd kind of like to hear like Rich's thoughts again from like a non-biased view and someone who's not a fan of a Premier League team. Like, what do you think of seeing that from Tottenham?
I'm conflicted because part of me loves seeing the jeopardy of the Premier League, and I think we were in a bit of a dangerous period where all the promoted teams were all coming up, going straight back down. And I think now we've got what could be definitely one, maybe Leeds are getting dragged into it, but I think they'll be safe. 2 of the 3 promoted teams comfortably in the Premier League next season. However, this just isn't a one-season thing. Spurs were horrific last season as well. They finished 17th, which I think people are now remembering. Yes, they were in the Europa League. They sort of gave the Premier League away. That's what Andrew's come out and said, but they were really bad. It is just a bit of a laughing stock, really. Like I don't know how. I know how they're so bad because attacking wise, they're absolutely awful. Like for me, that's their big problem. I actually think defensively, they do concede a lot of chances, but they're not losing games 5-0 every week. They're not like Burnley was at the start of the season or Wolves were at the start of the season where they're just getting hammered. West Ham, I think, started the season really poor defensively. They just can't create chances. They had 2 shots on target against Forest. I think one of them came in the 90th minute. Yes, they've had bad injuries, but that's not a let-off. You can't let that happen. You're Tottenham Hotspur. You're one of the quote-unquote Big 6. And right now, you're getting relegated. You are going to go down because West Ham seem to be picking up points here and there. I don't think Spurs have won in 2026.
Their last Premier League win was 28th of December.
It's the 23rd of March.
And they can't win a Premier League game until the 12th of April because of the international break. They could go 3.5 months without a Premier League win.
That's the sort of thing that you expect.
That's no
Sheffield Wednesday are on better form. They're on -6 points in the Championship. There's no hope. They don't score first and then have something to hold on. We've seen some historic relegations. West Ham going down, Newcastle going down, Forest when they got relegated, I think during the 80s. I think it was the 80s actually, when obviously they were a great side. They get relegated. Leeds United, which gives me great joy seeing them get relegated and not bounce back for like 15 years. But this does happen, and with a football club that big, in such disarray, if I'm a Tottenham Hotspur fan right now, my mum's actually a Spurs fan, so part of me is laughing at this, but also I feel for her. I think they have to change the manager before the end of the season, before the end of the international break finishes. I think they have to change the manager, and just to try and get some sort of resemblance of a bounce back, because right now they're bouncing one way and it's into the Championship.
Does like you say, they need to bring a new manager in. Have they got time to turn it around? Like, has this new manager got time to?
They're not marooned. They need like 2 wins and they're out of it. Let's be honest. Forest and West Ham, I said they're decent sides. They're not. Forest aren't going to win 6 out of the next 7. No. West Ham aren't going to win 6 out of the next 7. They probably need 7 points from the rest of the season, maybe 8 points to stay up. That's 2 wins.
But surely you would think the current manager is capable of getting 2 wins in 7 games.
You can't spell win.
It's
honestly.
The fixtures have got coming up, just for context. So they've got Sunderland next, and that's away. Brighton at home, Wolves away. That next 3, right? We'll get on to the other fixtures soon. There is points there. They have to win that Wolves one. That should be a guaranteed 3 points, right? Like, Wolves are horrific this year. They're gone. We know this. Well gone. So there's at least 3 points there. I don't know what will happen away at Sunderland.
I think Sunderland.
I like to think so. And then obviously at home to Brighton, I think that's a game that could go anywhere. Brighton aren't what they previously were, but they're still decent enough.
Like
they get
off to a good start, and then
head
drop and it's game over.
Just go through this again, Kieran.
Yep. So
Sunderland.
Sunderland away. What are your thoughts
0.
there, Rich? 0? Okay, we'll do it like this then. I'm going to come to you straight away, Rich, and then I'll come to you, Dan. Sunderland away. Rich says 0. Dan, what are you going for here?
Yeah, 0. Sunderland to win that 100%.
Right. Tottenham are then at home to Brighton. Rich?
A draw.
I'll go with the draw as well, yeah.
Okay, so everyone's got 1 point right now.
Yeah.
I'm in agreement with you both on. Then we've got Wolves at Wolves. I think they win that, so that puts them on 4 points. Rich?
I think they win that game, just.
Dan?
I think it's a draw again, honestly. They couldn't beat Burnley. And I think Wolves are better than Burnley. Or since the turn of the new year, I think Wolves have been better than Burnley.
It kind of depends if Wolves are going to be motivated just to try and get something for the fans, I guess. Then they're away to Aston Villa, and it's a Villa team that are getting very scrappy, to be honest now.
0.
0. That's a Villa win.
Then a really big game, and this could be the season-defining game potentially for both teams. Tottenham at home against Leeds. Huge game.
Yeah, Leeds go there and beat them.
I reckon Tottenham win that one. I don't rate
Spurs are horrific at home. I think they've won about 6 games in that stadium.
Have you seen the stat, by the way, that Arsenal have won more games in the past year than Tottenham have the whole time since they've been in that stadium? Isn't that a crazy stat?
Honestly.
It's believable though, right?
Conor Ben's nearly won more times in that stadium than Tottenham Hotspur. Honestly.
And then the final 2 games of the season for Tottenham, they're away at Chelsea, which you'd have to favour Chelsea, right? Both agree?
They would.
See,
that could be a game where Chelsea could relegate Tottenham at Stamford Bridge.
I can see Spurs getting something out of that game. I think they lose against Leeds, and I think they fight for their lives and go and get something, maybe a draw. So that puts them for me on 5 points.
I think Chelsea take that.
And then they end the season at home to Everton, and I can't imagine Everton are going to be too motivated for that one. So
although
I
they might get
them winning that.
They might get Champions League football. Everton.
I think Everton would sort of take any sort of European football.
I've got them probably getting 7 points from the remaining fixtures.
I think Everton take that as well. I think I'm the same. I think I was between 5 and 7 there.
I unfortunately think that's enough to keep them up though, because
is it that West Ham have probably one of the easier runs, I think.
Right, I'm going to pull up the fixtures. We're not going to do the same again because we'll just go on for too long, but I'll just give you West Ham's remaining fixtures. They're at home to Wolves, which massive game. That's up next. Then they've got Palace away. Then they have Everton at home, Brentford away, Arsenal at home, Newcastle away, and then they actually end the season West Ham against Leeds, which again,
that's could really be tough run.
That could be the game to watch at the end of the season. This is why I think West Ham are in trouble right now. And then just again, is Nottingham Forest's final fixtures. Bearing in mind they've also got Europa League in between a couple of these. The next Premier League game is after facing Porto midweek. They've got Villa at home. Then they play Europa League again. Then they've got Burnley at home, Sunderland away, Chelsea away, Newcastle home, Man United away, and then it's Bournemouth at home for the final game of the season. Forest runs horrible.
I've got them getting 9 points from that.
Really? Go on. Which ones?
Just saying back again. The
first one is Villa at home.
No.
Burnley at home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sunderland away.
No.
Chelsea are at home for that one, so it's Forest away.
No.
Nottingham Forest against Newcastle. Forest at home.
Yes.
I don't know about that.
Newcastle are not a great side
this season.
Then Man United at Man United.
Yeah.
Get a point out of that.
I've got them 0.
So then you've got them getting 3 points in the final day against Bournemouth.
Yes.
At home.
Because I think Bournemouth got nothing to play for at that point.
Interesting.
Which, for me, puts it Forest a little bit clear, and then Spurs, West Ham, probably coming down to that.
Yeah.
Maybe last day.
I think it goes to the final day. No matter which teams are starting the final day, 18th and 17th, I think it goes down to the final day.
Shall we end on this then? Who are the 3 teams to go down if you're guessing right now?
Well, it's Burnley and Wolves, I think. I don't think there's any hope for them.
Yep.
I'm going to say Tottenham. It's what I want. I can't wait to not drop 6 points to Tottenham next season, and I hope they go down and don't come back up.
I do like the idea. I've witnessed like my rival team going down in a different sport. You really miss those derbies. It's hilarious for the first few months, but you do miss those derbies. So as an Arsenal fan, I do want Spurs to go down because it'll be funny, the novelty. I think it'll get a bit sad the years after when you don't have the North London derby. But again, I've experienced that through another sport. I think it's going to be West Ham. And even though I'm an Arsenal fan, I actually don't want West Ham to go down. Rich, who's that last team going down?
Yeah,
Burnley,
I think
Wolves
it's
and
Wolves, Burnley, West Ham. I just don't think they'll have enough. But the sleeper on this, if they all start picking up points, I think Leeds might get dragged into it.
Yeah.
Leeds at home in a night game though. Like I don't know what time the rest of these games are, but if they've got any of those at 8:00 on a Saturday, 5:30 on a Saturday, they just seem to get a bit more for evening games. Even against us, they're like, we're coming to this as like we should be beating Leeds. Really scrappy 1-0, and they could have got something out of it. And I know like they did the same with Liverpool. A couple of late goals against them, got a point against them. I know Liverpool haven't been great this season, but it's still a good result for them.
One final thing on the relegation. Is there a world in which Forest win the Europa and get relegated?
I think so.
They could be playing Champions League football in the Championship.
It wouldn't be the first time. Oh no! I suppose teams have played Europa, and I remember Wigan played Europa, didn't they? Played in the Championship because they beat us in the FA Cup final and got relegated the same season.
Stoke City Tuesday night. Stoke City on Saturday. Barcelona away on Tuesday. Let us know though. Let us know your thoughts.
If that was you and you're a Forest fan, would you happily take the Europa League and get relegated?
I think being in the Premier League is too valuable. No, I think as soon as you go down, you lose all your stars. Like Morgan Gibbs-White is up. I don't know how they kept him this year. There's no way he's there next year. Surely he's got to be gone, right? I don't know where he's going to go.
But if they get Champions League, you tell me you wouldn't want to play Champions League football for Forest?
No. Morgan Gibbs-White. If who's probably going to finish fifth? Villa, maybe.
Everton.
He could go to Villa and go and play Champions League football.
Yeah.
He's good enough to play for Aston Villa, Morgan Gibbs-White. He could go there.
I think there's another issue in the financials as well, because most players have got like clauses. If they go down, they lose like 25 to 50% of their salary. Like, these players are not going to stick around on that when they know what they can get elsewhere.
And they'll all have super cheap get-out clauses if they get relegated.
I think that's another issue that Tottenham have to worry about, because realistically, how many of those Tottenham players stay if they go down?
But it looks like, it's probably a good thing to, again, discuss quickly. That's part of why I'm interested. If they did go down, what would happen? They got this fantastic new stadium, which is going to be half empty next season if they go down. And they're going to lose half their squad, which, there is some semi-decent players in there.
The other side of it, I remember when Newcastle came down and they came to Oakwell on a Saturday, and I think they put 4 past us, and Dwight Gale turned into the best player in the league, and they went back up. I think they had over 100 points, went straight back up, and basically just walked to the Championship. There's a world in which if Spurs get relegated, they'll not keep on to all that quality, but parachute payments, they'll spend some of that money.
Yeah,
they'll get players in who are good Championship players, and I can't see a world in which if they get relegated, we've seen some really disaster stories from teams coming down and not being able to afford it. Leicester City, they won the Premier League 10 years ago. They're in a very good chance of getting relegated again. I don't see that happening to Spurs, and I think they will fly straight back up, but it'll be a skeleton team of what they played in the Premier League.
I think I've seen a lot of people saying like, Archie Gray will stay in the Championship. He played there for Leeds, and like, Archie Gray is your best player. Like, he can play for 15 of the 20 Premier League teams. Like, I take Archie Gray at City. There's not a chance he plays Championship football next season. I think Spurs fans would be surprised with how many players actually stay if they go down.
I think even without them going down, a bunch of them are going. Like Romero isn't there next year. I've got to. I don't think Romero's anywhere near as good as people make him out to me. I just think he's a bang average centre back who's got a bit of aggression about him.
I think he's so suited to a Diego Simeone.
I was literally about to say the same thing.
That's
He's
exactly where he's
absolutely an athletic player. I couldn't build or describe a more athletic player, and a Diego Simeone athletic player. He's going to go there. He's going to pick up a yellow card every other game, but he's going to be a star there, and they're going to love him. And
pack his bags with Conor Gallagher. Go back there.
I don't know what's happened there. I thought Gallagher was going to come in and actually be pretty good for them. Tottenham's recruitment on paper, the start of it looks bad now, but at the start of the season, it looked good. Kudus was a great signing on paper.
And Xavi Simons was this season as well, right?
Yeah.
Like they brought in Kudus and Xavi Simons, and have gotten worse than last season.
Right.
They're not like, they're not world class like the top 3 in their position, but they're still very good players.
There's players in this club, and even their matchday squads, that I don't think any of them are stars, but they're not relegation players.
They've got one star in that team.
Who are you going to say?
Mickey van der Ven.
Oh,
I think
No.
I could see him going Real Madrid, Barcelona.
He's going to Man United, and that's going to end his career.
People rate Mickey van der Ven because he's got 93 pace on FIFA.
I have to agree. I think his FIFA card really does
He's a good
sway
centre
people.
He's a very good centre half.
If he had 78 pace and couldn't run very quickly, he's hopeless.
And it was called Michael Venn.
Yeah, exactly. If he was English, yeah, no chance. He's like Kyle Walker. Like Walker was rated for so long because of his recovery pace, and like if a defender beat him, he can get back and get it.
I think even though you're a City fan, you're being very harsh on Kyle Walker. You're talking about one of the best right backs of all time versus Mickey van der Ven.
Great comparison.
I had a very traumatic last season watching Kyle Walker.
Listen, I'm with you on Van der Ven being heavily overrated, but even I'm not going to accept the Walker slander there. We're talking about a guy who went to the World Cup and like pocketed Mbappe and players like that. Like, come on, that's not fair.
It was a tough watch. It was a tough watch last year. I mean, I'm not quality-wise. I'm not comparing the two, but it's the same sort of idea. Like Van der Ven without pace, he's useless. I don't think he's a great defender.
All right,
he scores the odd goal because he can run through everyone. Stick him in midfield.
I've got a really quick idea for an exercise. Sorry to take over, Stan. A really quick idea for the exercise, just because I've got it in front of me. Tottenham's team, just going to run through it real quick, right? Stay or go. Yeah. Your opinion, should they, or should we do will they stay or go? Because it's 2 different conversations, right?
Let's do will.
Will, yeah.
Will they stay or go? Okay, so I'm just going to go through the starting lineup, and then I'm not going to do the bench and everyone. I'm just going to pick out names.
This from the Forest game, yeah?
Yeah, because otherwise we'll be here too long. So starting in goal is obviously Vicario. I don't know what's happened to him. Last year he had that amazing start, and now he's just terrible.
I think
go.
Yeah.
Get rid.
He'll go.
Dead Spence.
He should go. He's better than Championship.
I think he'll go. Yeah.
Okay, Dancer.
He'll stay.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I think we know the answer, but Romero.
He's going.
He'll go.
Yeah. Pedro Porro.
Go.
I think he goes. Decent bit of quality.
I could see him at Chelsea.
Yeah, he's better than the Championship.
Another right back for Chelsea. They've got Reece James. They've got Malo Gusto.
Reece James infield. Pedro Porro on the right side.
Yeah.
Archie Gray.
Go. Yeah.
I think that one's tough. I don't know. I
think he'll stay.
I think he's going to stay. I think he could go, but I think he'll stay.
He might stay, but I think he should go. I think he's too good for the Championship.
We've got Papa Sarr.
I think
should go. He's good. Good player.
But I think he'll stay.
I'm just going to skip around now. I'm not going to keep it in order, but just go to some more fun names. Richarlison.
Go.
Probably stay and score 50 goals in the Championship.
He's such a myth of a player as Richarlison. He's such a myth. I can't believe he was starting for Brazil not too long ago. All right, I'm just going to pick out some names now just to end. We've got Bergvall, who I think is good enough to play elsewhere.
Yeah, really good player.
Who else have we got here? I can't remember what kind of contract Paulinho signed with them.
I think he's just on loan.
Is he on loan?
I think
it was a purchase.
I think it was loan with option to buy, and I don't think they will.
let's just do it like this then. Hypothetically, he is a Tottenham player. What do we think?
Yeah, he should leave. He should
Yeah,
leave.
he should. I don't think he's like particularly
Go
amazing.
back to Fulham.
Yeah.
Got players like Udogie.
Oh,
Good player.
Yeah.
What about Maddison? He's the big one.
I've been saying I think Maddison will stay.
I think he's got to stay because Tottenham have stuck by him with the injuries.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a weird one for him to leave. But just on the missing players, they've got Bentancur, Basuma, Kudus, Kulusevski, Maddison, all missing through injuries right now. I think there's potential where literally all them names go, apart from Maddison.
I think Kulusevski stays as well. I don't.
No,
think
he's too good. He's way too good. I could see Kulusevski if Salah leaves playing off the right for Liverpool.
You think
I think he's that good. I think he's really good. Yeah.
I've never been his biggest fan, but maybe I don't like enough Tottenham.
We've gone through the squad. There is one more name, not player, to discuss, and we kind of did allude to it earlier. But the manager,
I think he's gone. At least
Should be gone by tomorrow.
Yeah.
I would have, if I was Tottenham Hotspur and I wanted to stay in the Premier League, I'm sacking Igor Tudor, I'm bringing in Sean Dyche, I'm giving him the international break, and I'm saying, go and get me 6 points in the next 7 games and keep me in the Premier League.
That's the one thing Sean Dyche is good at. Like, you've seen him when
he does.
Tend to do well. It's like, not really the best at it, but it's like, if you want him to get you out of relegation fight, bring him in. I think he was manager when Everton got deducted 10 points, wasn't he? And
kept him up last game of the season. Decore.
Yeah. I think it was Tim. I know Tim Sherwood was on Sky this morning begging for the job. He was like, I'll keep Tottenham in the Premier League.
No, he won't.
Don't think he would, mate.
I think Dyche would keep him up.
I think he would.
But, because he'd have such a vendetta against Forest.
Yeah.
Like, you need a bit of personal spite in there. Igor Tudor looks like he's just missed the bus on the sideline. You don't know what day it is.
I don't think he's had a good record wherever he's been.
I don't understand why they would bring him in.
Even at Juve, I don't think he was rated at Juve. There was a period where they were unbeaten for like half the season. It was like because he had 15 draws, he couldn't win a game. And like I don't think he's been. I just don't think he was the right guy in the first place. But I guess it's kind of just whatever was available.
He had a 41% win percentage at Juventus.
For Juve, that's really poor.
Yeah, well, it's
only 3 teams in the league.
Yeah. I think the main guy they're linked with is the Monaco manager, Adolf Hotter, I think it is, something like that. But the link with him, again, I just don't think.
I think you just need to find yourself a relegation survivalist now.
I'm in for the
what's Sam Allardyce up to right now?
Yeah, Sam Allardyce, Harry Redknapp, Sean.
Just eats, isn't he? Just eats.
Well, they're actually doing a podcast. I'm pretty sure. I think they've got one together.
Well, I know they asked Harry Redknapp, and he's like, "Oh, I'm a Celebrity." He's going back on I'm a Celebrity. He's too busy.
I'm sure if he was offered the Tottenham job, his mind would change very quickly.
You don't know how much ITV pay for that.
Actually, we've seen them. I do. But I don't know what's going to happen. I do think if they stick with him, they're risking it. I still think they've got enough to pull out the wins with him, but I think they're playing a very dangerous game if they stick with him. Even bringing in a caretaker manager, I think would suit them better. They just need someone different because this guy just come in and it just hasn't happened.
Maybe everyone's playing checkers and Daniel Levy's playing chess. Leave, sell, get them relegated, buy back at a cheaper price.
It'd be wild if Tottenham fans were screaming to bring him back.
Bring Levy back, bring Levy back.
That would be insane.
I really do hope they go down. I'm sick of us. Like we've dropped points to the 3 teams we've talked about potentially going down. In 2026, we've drawn to all 3 and lost out on 6 points. That we win those games, we win the title. So if Tottenham do go down, I will be joining the parade. It might be me on my own. City fans.
I promise you, it won't be on your own if Tottenham go down.
We'll have a joint parade. City and Arsenal will celebrate together if Tottenham go down.
Man City fans will find that weird. They're used to just partying with Liverpool fans.
And you're used to finishing second.
Yeah, fair. All right. What a great ending point.
I think that's a good place to round it off. Anything else we need to? Any last comments?
Nothing from me.
Yeah, nothing from me. Let's get through this international break. I hate this international break, by the way. Like,
I'm sure we can fill it with something.
If you do want to get the most out of your Sky Sports subscription, Premier League this weekend. See my face there.
Get that last push in there. I was going to say, like, oh, where can people find you? It was like Sky Sports this weekend.
Already got it in. Got it in.
I think that's everything for next week. I don't know what we'll do for international break next week, but I'm sure we'll think of something.
I think a good one would be, let's put together the England squad that we'd actually take to the World Cup. We had a bit of a discussion on it today, talking about left back. I think we can go for each position, especially now that Ben White's in the team. That right back position is now an interesting topic.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see you next week for picking our England World Cup squad. Thanks for listening to the first ever episode of the FBFC podcast.